Okay. Hey guys, how do you go about setting up your SEO arrangements so that you can grow with the business? Are you charging based on keywords? I'm charging based on a combination of deliverables, which I think which I think work best for the exact project. Example, 3 PRs a month and supporting links to the gsite, etc. Is this a good approach, or would you suggest something better? Well, for me, because I work almost exclusively with service area businesses, we start with three key. And it's funny because I've had this conversation with some link building clients, or actually somebody was asking about full white label SEO services. And we like what I provide is 3 keywords, and it's for Google Business SEO. And for like my tree cleaner contractors, for example, we focus on the 3 primary keywords that generate the most traffic and leads, which is tree service, tree removal, tree trimming. Those 3 keywords. That's it. Like we focus on that, and we focus on the broad keywords. We optimize for those. And if we can get them, we always start with what I start with is just a 25 square mile area. So that's a 5x5 GeoGrid or local search grid with 1 mile spacing between the nodes. And what I say is once we get, whatever my retainer fee is, my bottom line starting price for Google Business SEO, straight up Google Business SEO that does not include a self-hosted website or anything else, it's $850 a month. And I say that they'll get those, the tree service keyword is generally what we optimize for, but we target all 3 of those keywords. And we do a 25 square mile area, right? So it's a 5x5 grid. We tell them we'll turn them green within 4 months. That's kind of the guarantee that I provide. Once we get to that point where we've got the search grid kind of, covering that area, then we start to expand the map. Right. And we start to expand the map coverage. And if they want to go outside of their immediate area, then that's when I start charging more money, because it's going to require more. We're going to need more geo pages on the site. So location pages on the site, more posts, more content, more links, everything else. But we always kind of, we start to expand. And then if they want to get out of what would be considered normal kind of proximity for that kind of a business, then that's when we start to charge more money for that. I don't do it based on number of keywords. I do it by coverage, maps coverage area. And that's just because that's the type of business that I'm in. Some of the other, or type of industry that I'm in. It's interesting, but, like I said, I had somebody that was asking me about white label services, which that's coming from us guys, full service white label SEO services. That's coming too. But somebody was asking me about that, and I told him 3 keywords, and he was like, well, that seems awfully low. And he was like, can you give me a quote on 50 keywords, 75, 100? I kind of laughed. It probably pissed him off because I never heard back from him. But I kind of giggled about it because I said, I don't know what kind of SEO you're talking about, but if you want to do like target a whole bunch of keywords that mean nothing, like then sure, we could do more keywords, but we always target the broadest keywords that generate traffic and sales, period. Like that's it. We target those. As long as we can rank for those, all those kind of long tail search queries and everything else, they're going to fall right in the line. So we always go for for tree service contractors, tree service, tree removal, tree trimming, those top 3 keywords, we optimize for that. If we can rank for those keywords, all the kind of like lesser keywords, the longer tail stuff, they're going to get traffic and leads from. So that's why, I don't optimize for 100 keywords or 50 keywords or 20 keywords. We figure out what the top level keywords are, whatever their primary products or services are. We optimize for that. And we try to get exposure in maps for that, and coverage. We start to expand coverage and start to expand services and charge more if we need to expand more. That's kind of the way that I do it. But, I do almost exclusive. Well, besides my link building business, all I do is local SEO. So that's the way that I do it. Does anybody here have any other kind of opinions on that?
No, not really. Sorry about that. I have my mic down. I think what you said makes sense to me, Bradley. I was kind of curious because I think a lot of people probably don't do coverage, and I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense for me, since I deal more with email and I don't, have the same setup as far as charging as the agency goes. I'm not sure what I would have would make much sense for people who are doing strictly SEO. So I think what you said makes sense, and it's a good way to go about it too, because I think it's fair for you, and that way too the client doesn't maybe feel like they're being nickel and dimed. And it makes sense to me if I was the client, where it's like, hey, we're expanding into this new literal area. There's going to be new and different leads that are coming in. So of course, this is going to require some additional work and some sort of fee.
Yeah. And just to clarify, guys, if we get the top, the primary keywords to rank within the 25 square mile area, then we move it from a 5x5 grid to a 7x7 grid. Then we go to an 11x11 grid, and we'll keep expanding it out until we reach kind of like the threshold of what is considered normal proximity for a particular business. And then if they've got full coverage there and they want to start targeting other keywords instead of expanding their map, but maybe target more specific keywords or other, kind of services, we can do that. And I don't charge any extra for that. It's up to the client what they want to do. If they want to continue to add more like larger covered service area, expand their proximity essentially, then, there's a threshold that you hit that it's very difficult to expand beyond that without considerable on-page work, geo posts and things like that. And sometimes it requires an additional Google business location, right? And so that's why, like I said, if there's some cases where, in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we get all the coverage that we promised as part of my guarantee. And so I'll tell the client then at that point, well, are there other specific keywords that you want to target, or are there specific locations that you want to target? And we can kind of shift the focus away from those keywords to something else without charging more, right? It's only if once we get, if there's like we want to go past what would be considered, normal proximity. And what is normal proximity? Well, that's going to vary depending on industry and depending on location. Obviously, where there's more businesses, so in more dense areas, it's going to be a tighter proximity, right? It's going to be less area that the map will be given exposure for. But if it's a more rural area, you can generally rank for in a much larger kind of service area because there's less businesses to compete with, right? So again, it varies. In a very urban area, the service area can be very, very small and can be very difficult to expand beyond that, especially because there's generally, if there's more population density, there's also more businesses, more companies offering the same services. So there's more competition. I think that's pretty normal. So anyways, a good question.